last time we finished the center part of this flower, so we will continue with the petals. So in the first round I had 16 stitches. After one round of increase, we have 24 stitches for the whole round. So now I will use a thicker crochet hook. So since we have 24 stitches, we will make 4 petals. So you need to attach the yarn in any stitches, chain 8. And in the second chain from the hook, insert the crochet hook and then pull out 1 loop, and then continue, pull out 1 loop in each stitch of the chain. So all together you will do that 7 times, because we start with the second chain from the hook. And then in the yellow part, the stitch that we made, we attach the yarn, we need to do that again. So altogether we need to pull out the loop 8 times, and then yarn over, pull out 1 loop at each time. Until you have only 1 loop on the hook. So this is the first line. We need to insert the hook on the top of the stitch that we just made, the horizontal loops on the top of the line that we just made. So we need to do that 7 times. So this is 7 times, and then insert the hook in the next stitch, pull out 1 loop from the base ring, the yellow yarns, and then yarn over, pull out 2 loops at one time until you have only 1 loop on the hook. So the second line is made, and then we will do increase, chain 1. You see, after the chain 1 we have 1 more loop on the top, so we just insert the hook from the loop that we just made. Since we are doing increase, so you need to pull out loop for 8 times. So again, pull out another loop, the last loop on the base ring. So pull out 1 loop at one time. This is how you go back. So the third line is made. So we will do another 5 rows for the 8 stitches. So you can see the first rows are 7 stitches, and then we will make 6 rows of 8 stitches. And the corresponding base ring is for each rows. We need to make 2 for each stitch. In the yellow yarn we will have 2 rows. do 6 rounds of 8 stitches. So that means 6 rows of without any increase. Again, grab a loop through the base ring. So you just need to remember when you're on the yellow place, if you have two rows, that means you should move to the new stitch. If you have just one row in the stitch, and you need to make the second row. So this is the last row of 8 stitches. We need to make 2 rows of 7 stitches and then 6 rows of 8 stitches. And for the last 2 rows, we will do 7 stitches. So that means in the next row, we will make 1 decrease. So the method for decrease is you just skip the first loop from the top and start from the second one. So for the last 2 rows, we just need to pull out a loop from the top stitches for 7 times. And then the last times is from the yellow part, the base stitch. And this is 10 rows of petals, 2 rows of 7 stitches, 6 rows of 8 stitches, and 2 rows of 7 stitches. We will skip the first top loop and make 1 slip stitch on the second stitch, and then continue to the end of the line. Just make slip stitch in each stitch on the edge. And the slip stitch should not be very tight. And so then we make a slip stitch in the base ring. So this is the end of the first petal. So each petal need 6 stitches from the base ring. So now I have already finished 4 petals. So the first row only the first single crochet of each petal, and the last single crochet of each petal have only one row in it, and then the 4 single crochets in the middle have 2 rows in it in the single crochets. So now it's finished. I will make a slip stitch on the first stitch of the petal. So this is the first round of petals, and then I will make the second row of petals. So first we need to create the chain space. The chain space will be between the petals. Since each petal, we need to find the center of each petal and make a slip stitch. So first we need to go to that place. So we need to make chains. I chained 2 until I reach the center of the petal. So you find the center of the petal, make 1 slip stitch, and then chain 5. And then we go to the second petal. We also need to find the center location, make another slip stitch. So you basically just repeat the process for each petal until you have 4 chain space at the back. So now I've already finished the last chain and make a slip stitch in the first stitch of the chain space. So this is what it looks like. We just create a square of chain space, and then we need to start with the petals. The method is the same. The only difference is you just the base ring is the chain space. So first we need to make a slip stitch in the chain, and then chain 8, and then in the second chain from the hook we pull out a loop and repeat the process for 7 times. And then the last time you will grab the yarn through the chain space. And use the same method, pull out 2 loops at one time until you have 1 loop on the hook. And the petals are also the same. We need to make 2 rows of 7 stitches, and then 6 rows of 8 stitches, and then 2 rows of 7 stitches. So altogether 10 rows. This is what you need to do in 1 chain space, and after this, you just go to the next petal, move to the next chain space. So the petals of the first layer is the same as the second layer. So this is what it looks like after you finish the 4th petals, and then make slip stitch on the edge of the petal. And in the end, make 1 slip stitch in the rain. And then at last we need to make 1 slip stitch in the first chain space. So now we have finished our 2-layer petal flowers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, feel free to make a comment. Thank you.